All right, we're back at it with the van today. So I recently picked up some ladder racks on Facebook Marketplace. So let's throw those on top, and then I'm gonna be putting a rooftop tent on this thing. Might do a little bit of camping with it, and we'll kind of, I don't know, see what happens with it. So I'm gonna throw these racks on and I'll show you guys how that works. Here they are, definitely used for sure, but they were cheap. Cheap is good. So I'm gonna be using 2 of them. I won't need all 3. Probably gonna keep the 3rd just in case, as this would be useful for longer ladders so you can get it fully up and on without scraping your roof. So with these, basically you tighten this side bolt after this is on, so that holds this into the track, and then you tighten, I believe, that one that then holds the rack onto the track, something like that. So let's go see if that actually works that easily. All right, locked and loaded. So apparently the Ford ones are actually longer than the Chevy ones. So I was able to take that beam out of the end pieces and with the Sawzall, cut them down to a length that works. But I am happy with that, and I'm just gonna keep that 3rd one for later and just run 2 for now. So this track system works how basically you set this piece on this ridge, you got a little retainer that clips under, and so with tension holding this piece to this bracket and then this piece up, locks these in to where you got racks. Hopefully these things don't whistle too much. I mean, this thing's already like riding in a tin can, but that would be unfortunate to really add more noise. So the van makes a new sound when you go above 55. Yeah, sure enough, it's those roof racks. So exactly what I hoped did not happen is happening. So I gotta put that rooftop tent or something on there, or maybe even like a dampener to quiet them down. But yeah, like once you hit 55, oh, that's bad. Well, yep, see you guys with the tent. So I'm at my parents' today, putting that tent on. So I did cut the 2 posts on this side just to fit it, because it was just a little too tight. So then I have my brother helping bend a few pieces. So with this thing all set and locked and loaded, we should be ready for camping. All right, so the tent actually looks pretty solid on there. After about 50 miles with it, everything's still tight, still looking good. So after cutting the passenger side tops, everything does actually fit pretty okay. So I'm gonna work on getting all this decal stuff off, as this just looks so tacky. So if you're trying to get decals and decal residue off your vehicle, check out this eraser wheel from Amazon. So what you do is you peel the decals off and you rev this thing up. And look at that. So it's a little difficult to do one-handed, but you guys kind of get the drip. So I'm gonna start on the driver's side, start here, and just slowly work my way all the way back. I don't know if I'll get to it all today, but yeah, so I'll link this thing in the description. So kind of cool. You just wanna make sure, I've noticed for best results, run your drill on the higher torque setting, which is number 1 on the gear selector, and just let it rip. So that was about 5 minutes with this thing. Did a really amazing job. As you can see, there's, you know, obviously the schmutz from the eraser on there, which I'll just hit a blower to get that off. But yeah, it takes these things right off, which is pretty sweet. It's definitely gonna take me a minute to get the rest of this, and you guys probably don't wanna. Ladies and gentlemen, do you know what time it is? Nope, not time to clean the garage, not yet. But it is subwoofer time, so I'm gonna wire this thing up, put it in this box, put this thing in the van, and bump. So I ended up with the 10-inch version. This just seemed to be a better fit in the van. Ended up with the dual 2-ohm voice coil setup, which I'm gonna run in parallel. So I have a 1-ohm setup, which my amp is 1-ohm setup. And then get this thing tuned to probably like 34 or 36 hertz or so. So I've had a few of these boxes in the past with the 10s, the 8s, and the 12s. And these things pound, especially with the side port. So I'll throw you all on the tripod and let's get building. To make this happen, I'm just gonna use some 14 gauge wire. So I'm gonna run 2 runs of this. So it'll have double the wiring. Wire strippers, so basically you just have to make one lead going from the input of coil 1 to the output of the other coil. Since we're going to be wiring this thing up in parallel, I'm going to do all that wiring on the driver itself. So then there's just one run that actually goes to the connectors inside the box. So I'm just going to grab some wire here. B, come over here. Alrighty, it is time to solder this up. So let's see if my janky soldering iron still has enough oomph for this job. I would say yes. All right, let's throw this thing in the van. So it's in, it's powered, it's wired. Yeah, it slams. I'm gonna put some bass test songs on a flash drive. I'll just have some AI make it. And I'll show you guys the walls of this van flexing. All in all, I think the 10 was a good choice, given that it fits in between the 2 seats, and probably put a grate on that side and then secure it with some Velcro underneath the double-sided stuff, which is kind of cool. So then it shouldn't move, and then we can just enjoy tunes while we rolling. Then the amp is tucked down in under there. It's kind of nice. Wiring is really short from the box to the amp, so you have less loss that way. So the van's kind of a mess with everything just chilling, but let's check out the subwoofer.
Living life in CT, With a Kia boys ride, cruising in their whips, always looking fly, sipping on that iced tea, feeling so cool with the Kia boys, breaking all the rules. We rolling through the city, turning heads left and right. Kia shiny, you done done this. You can see us in the night. We don't need no Lambos, we don't need no fuss. All we need is Kia, that's enough for us. CT Kia boys.
I'm ready. Listen up, I got a story to share. Bobby Fields in Michigan, man, it's hard to bear. Potholes everywhere like an obstacle race. We driving crazy, trying to find a smooth place. Dodging craters in the street like an action flick chase. If you hit one, run your car's out of space. Bump, bounce, bang, the suspension's gon' break. Michigan roads got a bad rep to embrace. I left and right like I'm living in the maze. Every road I take feels like I'm in a day. City to city, got potholes, giving the raise. To the auto shop, fixing our tires ablaze.
Yeah, this thing slaps pretty good. Pretty good. So I can't wait till it's broken in.
Feeling like a ticking bomb.
In the land of the
Yeah, I really can't wait till this thing's broken in. It'll sound a little bit better. I know I might tighten the screws down a bit. I could hear a little bit of air seepage along the edge. All right, link to the woofer box and the amp are in the description. I'd also like to eventually at some point mount this thing somewhere in the back, just so I have a little bit larger of a cavity until it hits the front area. So right now I just have this thing firing forward and the exhaust port right on the back. Well, that about concludes this episode. Thanks for tuning in. Enjoy bumping. So highly recommend getting a subwoofer, especially if you have some pretty pathetic door speakers. It makes 100% of a difference. So once this thing's broken in, I'm actually going to attempt to crack the rest of my windshield with it. So stay tuned for that in a later video.